episode of Mr. Allard's Neighborhood. This is the place where you're entitled to Brad's opinion. And now for your host, Brad Allard.
Well, hello, everybody. I'm just getting all the technology here lined up like we should. Today we have Elizabeth Becker from House of Hope here in Crowley. They're about 200 yards from us. You know, they're catty corner practically, so it's all within walking distance. Did you walk here?
I did walk. It's a beautiful day.
It is. It is. And so we're going to talk about what they do. This is our first time to visit with them, and we find out all their operations. They have some things that we could use in Burleson. There's no question about it. And they have some things that we do have in Burleson, much to our fortune and benefit. And so we're going to talk about their food drive they have coming up, and also ways you can support them, what they do to support this community. So, how's it been going at the House of Hope?
It's been great. Thanks for having us on.
No problem.
Yeah,
it's what the show's about.
Yeah.
That can hear me rant about Joe Biden any day.
Okay. Well, let's talk about House of Hope.
Yeah, it's really. I'll save that for later. You know, next week's show. I don't know. But anyway, let's talk about the sponsors that make all this available to us. Say it right.
Come on.
Our Place. Thank you. Otto is what I'm trying to say. See how this works? This isn't live Broadway. It's like, okay, get the words out. Our Place restaurant. I was there this morning with my Sunday school guys, our bi-weekly breakfast, and it's great as always. Very nice young lady served us, and food was great, service is great, and so it's really is Our Place. You ever been there before?
I have. It's quite yummy.
Yeah, it is. Also, a Burleson institution. He took over Gina's.
That's right.
And they're doing so much business that they can't keep up, literally. And so they're hoping to, expand the number of employees and whatnot to keep up with it. But they are really bursting at the seams. And so if you go to either Our Place, go to Gina's, it's good to go. Good to both. Also, Wild Cigar and Culture over at the Standard on Hidden Creek. You wouldn't happen to be a cigar smoker, would you?
Well, I have been there, and I have enjoyed a cigar there.
Yeah, right. Yeah, we're talking.
It's quite fun.
Yeah, it is, isn't it? It's a nice place, quiet place. Have a decent cigar. If it's your thing to have a drink, it's a good place to do it. And as far as the TV on the sports, they'll have it on, but it's on mute. And so you're not going to get blown away. I know they'll have the Rangers on this afternoon and that kind of thing. And have meeting places whenever. I'm glad to hear that.
It's a great environment.
It really is.
Yeah.
And they got something coming up tomorrow. One of their vendors is coming by. Yes, there it is. The Oliva Cigars, which is what I understand, one of the best cigars in the country, in the world. And so one of their vendors is coming by, and they're having a big special. So there you go. Also,
check that out.
Yeah. Also, thank you to Tiffany over at Local Life Magazine. It's already out. It's been out for a while. They have great ads. 30,000 people get it, and a lot of people, get multiple copies for their retail outlets. And so while you're browsing and perusing or waiting for service or whatnot, you can, pick up one, look through it. And so it goes to a lot more than just the 30,000 homes. So thank you, Tiffany, for what you do. Good articles as well. Thank you also to Southern Gym. Have you been here?
I have not.
Well, you need to go. You need to take. Is there a Mr. Becker?
There is.
Okay, take Mr. Becker over there, and you don't have to worry about him getting antsy because they have a place to put the husbands while they can watch the TV and have Dr. Pepper or a beer or whatever is his pleasure, while you take your time. My wife works here too; she'll take care of you.
Lovely.
So they got great jewelry. They have repairs. They also have a big event coming up in about 2 weeks on May 4th. This is going to be the Kentucky Derby Day. Gala, the owner, is really big into equestrian sports. And so they're going to have like a Kentucky Derby Day. My wife is getting her hat and all that stuff they do with there. And they're going to have a little bourbon. They're going to have little mint juleps. And they're going to have a raffle for some very nice stuff. I saw it. Also, they're going to be doing a fundraiser with that raffle. For Wings of Hope. Yeah, you ever heard of that?
I have.
Okay, and they're going to be on the show on the 29th and talk about what they do, an equestrian therapy group. And I don't know much about this, so I'm going to get educated. So it's always a good thing. So be there on May 4th. But May 4th is a big day. I mean, it's Election Day in Burleson. It is Lisa Schwartz and Crazy Eights is having City on Hill. And then they have this. But they all can be managed. There's not any time conflicts there, so you can do all three without having to miss one to do the other. This goes from 4 to 7, and Lisa's deal goes from 10 to 2. So you have plenty of time to do both. Also, thank you to Two Maids. This is a really good outfit. Brenda Ramirez and her crew. They have several crews, in fact. They're a cleaning service. You can contact them at twomaidscleaning.com/Burleson or at 817-764-0733, and they'll come out and they'll clean, and you pay what you rate them at. It's not like so much just a set fee. Your ratings will determine how they get paid. And so they're not going to be unmotivated, put it that way. Plus, they're not going to run the clock on you. It's not so much per hour or per job. They do have some jobs, like if you want to come in for a deep cleaning and whatnot, that is a set fee. But if you get like on a regular basis, they get not negotiable, but it's based on ratings. I don't want to misrepresent Brenda, but it's based on the ratings. And I've asked her one time, says, anybody ever try to lowball you on those ratings? She goes, no, they do not, because they're very appreciative of how good they do their service, and so they never get lowballed by their clients. Also, thank you to Pro Roofing, John Williams. I saw him yesterday at our BNI meeting. He's pretty busy. They do a lot of work up north of the Metroplex. They're about 2-hour radius, but they're a Burleson company. So call John at 817-734-2756. We're right in the middle of hail and storm season, and it'll last for another 2 months. You'd be very well advised to have John come by and look at your roof to make sure it's in good shape, because what will happen is, he'll tell you, is that your roof may need repairs, and then you get this storm come through, and then you try to access your insurance, and they'll try to say, no, you have previous damage, therefore they'll try to get out of it, paying for a new roof or something like that. Some insurance companies are really easy to work with. He mentions Texas Farm Bureau. Some are very difficult to work with, but he doesn't tell us which ones, because he doesn't want to rock that boat. But still, he says that you need to have your roof checked. Also, thank you to Camco Mortgage Brokers. I saw Candy yesterday at the BNI meeting. You can call Candy at 817-925-2661, or Sammy Campbell, 817-778-4592. The rates are all in flux and whatever else. But see, you need somebody like them to negotiate with the brokerage companies what the rates are going to be and how they can, try to get the lowest rate possible. Or if you need refinancing, like I've used them twice before in other outfits, and they do great work, and they're good people. Now, we do have a lot of nonprofits, but they have events going on. I want to do that at the end of the show, because this is a very busy time. And there you go.
It is.
Before we even get too far from it, then let's talk about what's going on Saturday, because I know that's a really big deal. I saw a Facebook post that Jennifer Woods over at Harvest House shared that you'll really, really need some pantry food.
We do. Crowley House of Hope is serving record numbers, just as much as all nonprofits in this area are. And our pantry shelves are empty, and folks are leaving with smaller amounts of food than they ever have. And we want to be as much of a help to families as we can. And so we're reaching out to the community to support us in this effort. There's a couple of ways to think about this. Can either stop by the store and pick up some things. Any shelf-stable food item that you purchase for your family is used by the families that we're serving. So think about that spaghetti dinner or macaroni and cheese for lunch. Those kinds of things go really well. And drop them by the pantry on Saturday, April the 13th, between 10 and noon. For every 10 items you donate, we will enter you into an opportunity to win a $100 shopping spree in our thrift store. And it's pretty simple. Drive through, pop your trunk, staff and volunteers will be there to unload and help you get that ticket filled out for the drawing, and you can be on your way. The other thing that, I don't know about everybody else, but, when I buy canned food or other shelf-stable food items, I typically don't just buy one. I might buy 2 or 3 or 10. And giving from our abundance sometimes is another way to consider helping out, right? We all might have a few extra things in our home that we can do without for now. And so if stopping by the store is not an option between now and Saturday morning, just take a look at your house pantry and see what you might have that you could share.
Your story is the same as Jennifer Woods over at Harvest House. Y'all are friends, y'all
we
are
are.
colleagues, and y'all support each other.
Exactly.
And she had posted something. I think she shared something for you that your pantry's is empty, rather. And I went to your place about 3 weeks ago, and it wasn't empty, but there was some bare shelves.
Bare shelves.
And not only you're saying this, and Jennifer's saying this, but my friends over at Promises Community are saying this. And I've asked them, are people just not giving as much? And the responses I've gotten from them is, no, they're giving. It's just the demand is so much higher. Jennifer estimates her demand is 60% higher than it was this time last year.
Right. Our demand from 2021 to 2022 jumped about 63%. This first quarter, we're up over 30% over that number. Since October, Crowley House of Hope has served anywhere between 900 and 1,000 families per month. And it's a couple of things I think are happening that are causing. You're right. Donations seem to be holding steady. They're just not going as far as they used to. For instance, we received a very nice food donation from a local congregation about 2 weeks ago, and 1,400 pounds of food roughly. In the past, that would have probably seen us through a full week of services. It saw us through a day and a half.
I told this story once to Jennifer when she was on the show for one of her first appearances. When I was at the Burleson High School, I was doing student council. We do food drives around Thanksgiving.
Exactly.
And we had a young lady there. Her married name now is Jennifer Sandow. Her maiden name was Jennifer Barnes, and her mother worked for the district. So, but anyway, the point I'm making is that she really ramrodded that food drive. It did such a good job. I mean, we had 4 flatbed trucks taking the food taken over there. And I pull up in my car anyway and go inside and talk to the ladies and say, we got some food here for you. And they started tearing up. And I go, what did I say? She goes, we want to show you something. And there literally was one sack of groceries left on the shelves. Yeah. And they come out and they saw 4 trailers of food, some like 10,000 pounds, I think it was. I guess that really struck home with me, just how so many people are in need of this service. Because, sometimes, we don't think about it.
We don't.
It's obvious by anybody looking at me, I haven't missed any meals. And so it really struck with me how desperate some situations can get. You did bring a video. Do you want to see it now? Do you want to see it later? I'll let you call.
We can watch the video.
Okay, let's watch the video. But I want to go back to the food situation pretty soon.
Of course.
Welcome to our journey of hope, a journey that began in 1994 when local visionaries, armed with research and driven by their caring, servant hearts, had an idea for meeting needs, making connections, and fostering a culture of hope. Their idea became what we know today as Crowley House of Hope. Hope is knowing someone is there in your time of crisis to offer gentle, solution-oriented support during difficult days. Hope is relief that there is free medical care in your community. Hope comes in the waning summer days with new backpacks filled with school supplies, as autumn air cools and our pantry of plenty is stocked with holiday food items, and when we share the love with children on Christmas morning. Hope is found within the walls of our food pantry, where individuals and families choose their own food and make connections with broader community programs. This hope we share is more than a handout. It is the warm smile and kind eyes of our volunteers. It is the caring hands comforting the sick. It is the warm greeting on a challenging day. These connections aid in the goodness to come. As we celebrate 30 years of bringing hope to the community of Crowley, we invite you to join us. Your gifts of time and treasure ensures that this journey of hope continues. Crowley House of Hope has blossomed beyond its humble beginnings in a one-room storefront on Texas Street, to become the beacon of hope for the community of Crowley and beyond. Today, just as in those early days, hope is still meeting needs and making connections.
That was a great narration. Taylor, you pay attention to that? You know, he does these kind of things. So you might want to put her on your roster or something there. Well, I want to finish up with the food. Oh, go ahead. I don't want to interrupt.
It's inspiring work. Each day, as I arrive at Crowley House of Hope, I never know what I may encounter. I never know what person's going to come into my office, what need they're going to have. I certainly don't know how I'm going to help them with those needs. And so it is work that feels good to the soul. And it's really our privilege and honor to stand with our neighbors in their most vulnerable place. I myself have fortunately never experienced some of the things that I hear about.
Yes, neither have I.
Right. I've never wondered what was I going to feed my children for lunch or dinner. I never worried about paying the electric bill. And so I've never had to consider taking myself to a place and asking for that kind of help. Mm-hmm. And so when somebody does that, when somebody reaches out in that way and for those very specific needs, they have to truly humble themselves.
You know, you're saying exactly what others have said on this show before, is that a lot of people have too much pride to want to go to a place like this because they feel like they're going to be either judged or they're going to feel like a failure. And I know that your colleagues in this profession, so to speak, if you want to call it such, in this endeavor, they go way out of the way to try to make a person feel comfortable about what they're doing because they don't want them to be unfed or their kids go unfed because they feel like either A, they're going to be looked upon like, well, can't you take care of your kids? Or you're going to be beat over the head with scripture or something about how you need to be doing X, Y, and Z. And that none of them do that, and you don't do that. You know, it really, I know it's a faith-based organization, but the level of, shall we say, faith expression by your clients is up to them.
Exactly.
You know, and as far as what Jennifer and Debbie Beeman promises, because they deal directly like this. Same thing with Next Step Women's Center, but in a somewhat different capacity. Or Lisa Schwartz at Crazy Eights, in a somewhat different capacity. But you're dealing with like these necessities every day. I know I would have a hard time coming to House of Hope not because of any kind of fear, but like I should have been able to handle this. I should have been able to take care of myself, and now I'm asking for charity.
And most people want to take care of these things, right?
Yes, they do.
It is our instinct as human beings to care for our families and our, and the people around us that are in our circle of influence, right? That's just how we're wired. And so when we're unable to do that, it's a jarring experience, and there's certainly a level of trauma that comes along with that because we're supposed to be able to do that. That's how we're designed. And so I often tell families, especially in the financial assistance arena of our work, that people will be teary-eyed. They'll experience or express shame. And my message to them is that this is a place of joy. Somebody in this community donated dollars for this purpose. And they donated those dollars out of a place of generosity and joy for us to turn around and share that with you. And so this is not a place of shame. This is not a place of despair. This is a moment for joy. And to try to reframe that for families experiencing crisis, that without neighbors who have and can give, we are unable to care for those who are in that moment unable to do the same. And so when the time is right And when things are better for you, you extend that where you can. And I think we always, our number one desire is to leave people, or to have them leave us, feeling some sense of hope, some sense of joy in their time of need, because it is there. I believe that.
It's paying forward is a well-used phrase, and that's what people are doing in this community and in Burleson and other communities like it. Is they give money knowing who's going to receive it, or they give food not knowing who's going to receive it, but they know it's going to happen, and that's jewels in their crown. But also, it's what a community should be doing. And I know my reference points are Burleson, so I'm not as familiar with the nonprofit scene in Crowley. This is really my first conversation with your organization or one like it. But from what I can tell, you're pretty much the sole support for a lot of this. I mean, Harvest House and Promises and others all kind of mutually support each other, but you're kind of out here, aren't you?
Right. Crowley House of Hope is the primary food assistance services here in the city of Crowley. There is, I believe, North Crowley High School has a mobile pantry once a month, and so there folks can access that. But yeah,
somebody told me that Everman ISD is also providing some sort of space somewhere. Was it your group, or is it somebody else that I'm thinking of?
No, I believe Harvest House has some space that they're utilizing.
Okay, all right.
Over in Everman.
Honestly, y'all are very similar in operation, so I try to keep them straight.
Yeah.
And I know y'all support each other across city limit lines. That's not the barrier here. It's not like there's some moat here between Burleson and Crowley, because y'all will send people back and forth and whatnot. But what is your radius of service, so to speak? I know you probably get mostly Crowley, maybe some Everman people or North Burleson people, but what is your service area?
Right. For food assistance, we do not have any zip code restrictions. So if somebody arrives in our facility on a service day, we will take care of that family. For our other programs, for example, the medical clinic, financial assistance, our seasonal programs, so back to school and our Christmas program, those are zip code restricted to Crowley, and then the zip codes that make up Crowley ISD pretty much, and then Everman. About 6 zip codes in the southwest part of Tarrant County.
Okay. Yeah. So Burleson, food assistance, you said, is
right. Right. We do problem, see quite a bit of travel from Johnson County to Crowley for food assistance.
But the financial assistance and the medical care, by necessity, I'm sure you'd like to expand that, but by necessity, you have to limit it, because I saw your facilities and I was impressed you have a medical facility. I know that there's 2 or 3 year peers in Burleson that would really want to do that. I know Next Step has been wanting to expand their medical facility. I think both Promises and Harvest House, dream of that kind of situation. Yeah. We do have the Christian Physicians Clinic over on Haskew Street, which is on the corner of the parking lot of First Baptist.
That's pretty new, isn't it?
It's about a year and a half.
About a year and a half.
Yeah, and I have a couple of friends that volunteer there. And they said they could be open 24/7, and they'd still have people waiting.
Right.
Well, let's talk about your medical situation. Sure. What do you provide? Who provides it? And is there any kind of cost associated with it?
So the medical clinic is fully staffed by volunteers. All of the doctors and nurses and administrative staff are all serving free of charge.
But these are medical doctors, registered nurses. This isn't just people just donating their time. These are professionals.
They are.
Okay.
They are. The doctor, there is one retired doctor. The other 2 doctors are both practicing out of Hughley Hospital. We do also have a physician's assistant. The nurses are a mixture of retired and currently working nurses, but all with current licenses and all of the good things they need to do to be able to do their work. But the clinic is open to adults who are uninsured, and it is adult primary care. So we take care of folks who have chronic issues, maybe diabetes or heart related.
On that one.
Yeah, it's rampant. It seems
it's a beating.
Yeah, and so dangerous, right? So we want to be sure and care for those
I'm very
folks.
fortunate to have the proper medication because my diabetes is not chronic or critical at all.
Yeah.
But if I didn't have that medication, I wouldn't be here now, I'm sure.
Yeah.
And you probably run across a lot of people that don't have access to insulin.
Right.
That's a big problem.
It's a big problem. We do provide some prescription assistance with insulin specifically. And, of course, work with folks to try to get on prescription assistance programs and things like that. So where it's possible. But yeah, we generally have 4 clinics a month that are appointment based. It's pretty simple to get connected with that. If you are an uninsured adult and live in our service area, it's a quick phone call to the medical clinic. Please leave a message because it's volunteer staff. They're not always present on site, but our clinic coordinator, Leona Rapp, does an awesome job of connecting with patients quickly and getting them scheduled as soon as possible. And you're right, it is something that probably could be open many more days out of the week.
Well,
And be busy.
if it's an emergency, they go to the ER, I'm sure.
Right.
But we're talking about those routine appointments that, you need that prescription for the, Z-Pack, for your sinus problems, if that's it, or whatever. You need medications, but you just can't go to the store and get them. But I'm sure sometimes those doctors encounter some more serious problems that may have gone on undiagnosed for a long, long time.
Right.
You don't deal with pediatrics that much?
We don't. No.
Well, I guess that's probably a specialty that's hard to find.
It is, and children have access to different types of insurance. So there's of course Medicaid if their family's income qualifies them for that. Then there's the Children's Health Insurance Program that's more of a sliding scale program. So there's kind of something for every income level. But yeah, children there's a wider network of services for children. So
Well, my friends over at the Christian's Clinic, Christian Physicians Clinic, say that it's not the very poor that have the most problems because they have Medicaid and whatnot. It's those people that are working jobs, and making $15 an hour maybe, but they don't have insurance because a lot of these employers can't or won't provide insurance. My anecdote about this is I remember working at a grocery store many, many years ago, and they would cut everybody off at 32 hours, right? And what happens is I was working at a grocery store, it's in Plano, but it's a big chain. About 8 of them would be working like in the produce and drug sections, whatever, and then they would all go down as a group and work at the Target right down the street. And the 2 managers of the stores would coordinate the schedule so they wouldn't overlap.
oh goodness,
And so they're working like 64 hours a week and didn't have any insurance.
yeah.
And
Well, and now you have these high deductible plans
boy.
that you have to have so much out of pocket before you can actually utilize the insurance. That's an issue for families.
I don't blame some of these people that want to have a more broad approach to medicine and medical care because I've seen the stories. Now, as far as the politics and the money and all that, it's another show for another time, but there really does need to be a better healthcare system for those that are doing what they're supposed to be doing, working for a living. And Jennifer, again, I'll bring her up again. She says a lot of their clients are working. The stereotype that these are, homeless or they're vagrant or they're, or whatever they are, destitute. They're working here in our community.
They are. They are.
And that's to me, that's not right. That you got people working, but they're still having to go to y'all and others like y'all.
Right. We were talking earlier about, some things I've been reading about are, families that are sort of labeled these Alice families, right?
You mentioned that before. Why don't you tell me what that means?
So it's, and I'm going to look just to make sure I get it correct. Asset limited, income constrained, employed households. So these are families that actually make more money than the federal poverty level, which means they're not eligible for programs like food stamps or Medicaid for their children, but they don't make enough money or they make just enough money to meet their basic needs where they live, which means there's not any money left for an emergency or possibly child care, things like that. So these are working families, and these are the families we are seeing a great number of, especially new families reaching out. And a lot of times we'll hear them say, I've never had to do this before.
I've heard that too.
And so they're trying to figure out this sort of safety net system that exists in our communities, so that they can just meet their basic needs.
Yeah. Also, I'm hearing in Burleson, we're having more and more people living out of their cars or living like on their sofas of friends, and they're kind of couch hopping, as they call it. Is that happening here in Crowley?
We see some of that at Crowley House of Hope. A lot of times they are sort of passing through to get to Fort Worth or where there are more homeless services available. And, we've been able to connect people with some resources there. And we actually had probably about a year ago, a young man, 17 years old, walked away from his parents' house and found his way here to Crowley, Texas, and, ended up calling a youth shelter, and they actually came out and picked him up so we could make sure he was safe, right? He would have been a pretty vulnerable young man on the streets by himself. So that was our primary concern, but it does happen here.
Well, we're seeing it and hearing about it. People don't think it exists because they don't see the tents under the bridge like you see sometimes in Fort Worth, or you don't see the shacks that are made out of, cardboard or whatever. But what I'm understanding is there are certain parts of Burleson, like near the baseball fields, that's starting to happen. Are you familiar with Sherry Scott? She's on the screen here.
I am, yeah.
Yeah, Sherry does that blessing boxes,
She
right?
does,
Yes,
yeah.
and that's a tremendous service. But she says we have several people living in their cars that are parked at the library every day, eating out of the blessing boxes. That's what kind of gets to me sometimes, is that people, because it's not so obvious that we think it's not happening. Right. But everybody I've talked to, including you and your colleagues, have said, oh no, it's getting worse and worse. And, as far as the economy and the politics, that's another show, and I don't feel like getting into it. But it doesn't really matter what the reason is. They're there, right?
Right.
And
it happens so quickly, right? A family can be doing well for a little while, and then all of a sudden, it doesn't take but one thing.
I consider myself pretty conservative politically and financially and all this sort of stuff, but I do believe we need to do better than this. And sometimes there is a role for government, but it can't take the place of what we're doing here. All right. But it doesn't mean the government has no role. But as far as y'all are concerned, I mean, I get concerned when I talk to your colleagues and you that we make it to the point now where we won't be able to take care of this problem on our own. Because, we can, because of just the demand is growing at such a rate that it may outstrip our capacity to serve.
Exactly. I agree with you, Brad, that I think there's a role for all kinds of organizations and entities to be a part of the solution. Government can't do it all. Charity can't do it all. Churches can't do it all. But if we could figure out a way to work together, maybe we could come close to finding some solutions to some of these situations. But in the meantime, places like Crowley House of Hope and Harvest House will continue to do our good work and make a difference for these families. It goes back to that, sort of you make a difference one family at a time. We can kind of turn the tide on some of this, and so.
Right. When I was there to visit about 3 weeks ago, I was in your food pantry, and I saw a young lady there with her toddler son, 18 months, 2 years. And I left thinking, if y'all weren't there, would that little boy had anything to eat that day? If y'all weren't there, would that woman been able to provide for her family?
Maybe not.
And, maybe not. And you never know. Taylor, you have that brochure, not a brochure, what's the word I'm looking for? The flyer about their donations. That's an interesting perspective. Food donors. Okay. There we go. All right. So you're talking about driving through on
Yeah.
Saturday 10 to noon
10 to noon,
at
right.
the Hutchings Event Center. I don't know where that is.
So Crowley House of Hope has three buildings on North Magnolia Street. We pretty much consumed the entire block there, and it is the blue building on the corner of North Magnolia and Mustang Street.
Oh, you showed me this.
Yeah.
You did.
Yeah.
When I was thinking Hutchins Event Center, I'm
Yeah.
thinking, is this something like at City Hall or something like that?
No, that's so that building is dedicated to the early, the first director of the organization, Billy Hutchings. Him and his wife were instrumental in the evolution of Crowley House of Hope. They took it pretty far. So we have a drive-through. You don't, like I said, you don't have to get out of your car. Just drive through to the back of the building, the railroad track side of the building, and pop your trunk or open your back door, and we'll unload that food for you, and you can fill out your ticket to win the prize. So
Well, that's the resale shop, which I also took a tour of. They have some nice stuff there.
sure, yeah,
You know,
great
people
stuff.
shouldn't think of your place or the resale shop or Rachel's Hope for Next Step Women's Center as a junk shop. It's not at all. I mean, they got some very nice clothes. You know, a lot of my kids, when I was teaching, a lot of students would go there and shop, not because of financial necessity, but thrift shopping was kind of a thing, thrifting.
Yeah.
Right? And they'd go to the Goodwill or they go to these other places and they'd buy like a $5 shirt.
Yeah.
And I went there one time just to Goodwill to see what was there. I got 3 shirts for $10.
Yeah, it's a great thing.
Yeah, and so I think that the resale shop. Do you have any photos of that, or is that probably
you
in
saw some in the video
Right.
for sure. But yeah, the resale store, the thrift store is it's a fun place to be.
It really is.
We've got great staff and volunteers there. You'll find people visiting with each other. You know, neighbors meet up and or friends come together. It's a fun place, and does a lot of good work. Right, it provides about 2/3 of our operating budget, so when you shop at the store or donate to the store, you are participating in making sure we have medical and food and other programs available to the community of Crowley.
So you take donations, all right,
do.
and as most people do.
Sure.
Then you sift through them. Sometimes you may not be able to use them, but you find some stuff in there that are pretty valuable. My wife went to the resale shop for Harvest House, and she found a Waterford jar there, like $15.
Yeah.
You know, and that's pretty. And she'll tell you that, it's hard to find that kind of stuff for that kind of price. And so it was. It really, I think a lot of people in their minds, when they think a place like House of Hope, if they haven't been involved in it, they think differently. But they think it's a sad place, or it's not. And it's really when I went there,
Yeah.
the people were happy there because they knew they were doing good work, and they were doing good things for people in this community.
Exactly.
And it was very uplifting when I went there.
Yeah.
And it's been very uplifting anytime I've gone to these other places because you see people fulfilled with what they're doing.
Right.
And so it's anything but a depressing place. It's refreshing.
Well, thank you. Yeah, we hope to be that way all of the time. When you're working with people who feel hopeless or who are in despair, the last thing you want to do is have them come into a place that feels hopeless itself. And so, our volunteers, we have about almost 80 volunteers. I think 78 was the count that I had last. Men and women from across this community and from good distances away who come out and help us on a regular basis. And they come because they have a desire to serve. They have a desire to share their time selflessly with others. And, it's when people come at it from that place, you can't help but feel hope. And so we're really proud of that. And
Do you ever have any of your clients come back to you after they've gotten on their feet again and tell you were there when I needed you, kind of thing?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
That must be very touching.
It is. And sometimes it's from many years ago. In fact, just yesterday, I took a phone call from a lady who wanted to speak to Billy Hutchings. And I had to sadly tell her that he passed away several years ago, but she was calling specifically to let him know that she was doing better. And it's phone calls or emails like that kind of go, okay, we're doing a good job.
Yeah,
here.
it's a confirmation. Yeah, and others have said, like their friends at Next Step, they said they have some of their clients come in and they'll show off their 5-year-old child, because I think they 2 years old is the top end of their services, but they come in and their kids start in elementary school or something like that, and they just want to let them know that without them, it'd have been a lot more difficult. And I've mentioned this several times on the show before, but on Giving Day last September, I had all of the nonprofits here from Burleson, and had went in 10-minute intervals. And then afterwards, Taylor and I recorded a show when they're sitting on the couch over there and talking amongst themselves. I just said, here they are, and let them run the show. And, I wanted to talk about the stresses and all this other stuff, but they kept going back to the fulfillment they felt. Because it is a stressful job, because you worry, you can't help it. We're going to have enough food, that kind of thing. But they all said it was far outweighed by the benefits they felt like they got from getting that job. I bet you feel the same way.
Yeah, this is my vocation, right? This is why I believe I'm here.
How did you get involved with them?
I have always been in this type of work and had worked for many years in Fort Worth at an organization that did similar things. And this position came open out here in Crowley. I live between Joshua and Godley, and so it got me a little closer to home. I thought for a split second it might be kind of maybe a little slower paced, but little did I know a pandemic was going to hit.
We have not recovered from that, have we? In so many ways.
In so many ways, we have not.
Yeah. Educationally, I've been reading a lot about it.
Yeah.
But also this, a lot of people were put in financial straits that never had them before.
Exactly.
And that's, again, what Jennifer and Debbie Beeman and others have said is that, you mentioned it as well, how many people are first-time users of your facility and how they had to overcome their own pride issues and emotional stumbling blocks or whatever else. But I don't think we're done with what COVID did to us.
Oh, probably not.
Yeah.
Many years to go, I'm sure,
Yeah, I'm
in the
sure.
recovery process.
How long have you been with House of Hope?
It'll be 5 years in July. July of 2019. And man, I have loved it ever since. But this is my calling in life, and I don't ever see myself doing any other kind of work. And so it is hard. You take these families and these situations home with you. You don't, when you walk in your front door and you take your hat off or you put your bag down, it doesn't stop.
That's what I asked about others. I've asked them about the personal toll this takes. And they, most of them, like I said before, they feel really happy with what they're doing. But there are those days when they felt like they couldn't help somebody or they came across a really sad story or they wanted to help somebody, but there wasn't enough material to help them with, none of food or whatever. And so they left with less than what you wanted to give and that kind of thing. And it does weigh on them a little bit, and that's a thing about it. I think a lot of our friends need to understand about this endeavor you're all in is that you just don't turn it off and get in the car or get home.
Yeah.
You'll probably wake up in the middle of the night wondering, is that young baby going to be taken care of? Kind of thing.
Yeah.
And you pray about it, certainly.
Right.
But you may never know this answer to that prayer, right?
We don't. Yeah. It's out of our hands a lot of times. And we just have to hope we have set families up as best we can, whether that's with material things or information. From time to time, I'm sure every place does this. They, check back with some families who've faced especially difficult circumstances to try and follow up with people.
So you follow up some of these clients?
Some of them I do. Yeah.
Just to see how they're doing?
Pick up the phone and give them a call and just see how they're doing.
What are your hours of operation?
Right. So because our services are vast, our hours of operation are dependent on the program. So the pantry's open Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday from 11 to 3. Those are the public services. But folks are working. If you're interested in volunteering, they're working Monday through Friday and on some Saturdays between 9 and 5. The store is open Wednesday through Saturday from 9 to 4. Those are also the donation drop-off hours. And again, people are working pretty much Monday through Saturday in some capacity in the store. The clinic is appointment-based, and so you'll just need to check with them to get that schedule. I'm available.
You have a number for them to call?
I do. Right. They can reach Crowley House of Hope at 817-297-6400.
One more time for those looking for a pen.
Yeah, sure. 817-297-6400.
So the pantry's only open 4 hours.
Right.
Well, let's say
4 days a week.
4 days a week. Okay. Would you like to expand that?
We actually, that is an expansion on at the beginning of this year. We added the Monday service. We have an evening service once a month on the third Thursday night from 6 to 8 p.m. And on the third Saturday of the month from 11 to 1, trying to, people have transportation challenges.
Right.
They work. And so we're trying to be available, as at different times of the day and different weeks of the month to accommodate different needs. So, yeah.
I know, talk to all your peers as well. They'd all like to expand their services, but it's a matter of funding, a matter of volunteers, et cetera. Let's go to the funding aspect of it.
Sure.
Did you send us your website?
I don't know.
Just if you just say it,
Yeah,
he could
it's
find it.
www.crowleyhouseofhope.org.
Taylor's the wizard here, so
Sure.
he'll get that up, and we could talk about how people who are listening to this and say, "Well, I can't be there Saturday or whatnot, but I want to help."
Yeah.
It's coming up pretty soon. It'll come up on the screen. There it is. Okay. Now, so this www.houseofhope.com?
crowleyhouseofhope.org.
All right, crowleyhouseofhope.org.
Right.
Okay, and you have a donate button there as well.
We do up there, purple.
Yeah, and so you could. Now, do you prefer one-time donations of a certain size, or would you prefer like monthly givers?
Right. It all helps.
Right.
So, and it's different as the donor. If a small monthly donation is easier for you, that works for us. It helps us sort of plan.
Exactly.
And then, one-time larger gifts are also welcome. And you can designate your donation if you're interested in supporting the food pantry or the medical clinic or one of the seasonal programs. You can designate that, or you can just say it's for general operating.
Well, you could say the food pantry. Do you buy like wholesale or through grocers sometimes to get some of the food in there?
Right. We are a partner agency of Tarrant Area Food Bank, so most of our food is sourced through them. We also have some retail partners here in Crowley, the Walmart in Crowley and the Kroger in Crowley. We pick up from them a couple of times a week. And then, and then community donations.
Right.
That's how we source food.
Well, okay. So the donations, though, I've been told by every one of your peers is that they appreciate any donation, but the ones that are consistent every month, even if it's a smaller amount, helps them with the budgeting, helps them with planning and whatnot.
The financial gifts.
And a lot of people think, and I used to think this way as well, so I can't give much. $10, $15, $25 a month makes a big difference to y'all.
It does.
If enough people take on that responsibility.
That's right.
And challenge. It really, a lot of people get intimidated because they hear about these guys that drop about $10,000 on it, and they say, "I wish I could do that." Well, sure, but $25, I refer to it as the widow's mites. That's one of my favorite stories in Scripture because I think it talks more about the heart of giving more than just the amount.
Right. Yeah, we survive on those smaller gifts, right? They truly make a difference and are our bread and butter in many ways. So.
Well, and then you have people that I hear now that grow stuff and bring it to places. You know, is there any kind of rules that you have about homegrown stuff? Because I have a garden. Hopefully it'll produce more than I need.
Yeah,
So
that's
if I wanted
great.
to take it to something, do you have any kind of rules about that?
No, we don't. If you have a home garden and you want to share some of that with us, just bring it to us. Obviously, it's produce, so we're going to get it out as quick as we can. But no issues with that. If you bring us a food donation, if it's not expired, that's best. But at times we'll kind of take a look at things and see what they are. But that is always a little bit of a concern with some of our clients, right? They
Right,
wanna,
of course. Do you have a freezer?
We do. We have refrigerators and freezers and.
That was a big deal when Harvest House expanded their freezers. It was about a couple of years ago, and there's a big fundraiser and all that. Do you have a project like that for your organization right now, like a big project, like a expansion or
Not really.
new vehicle to say to have a new truck and all that?
We're in pretty good position right now. Nothing, of course, who knows what's going over there right now. But, hopefully I don't go back and there's an air conditioner broken. But, you never know with these things, right?
I'll tell
every
you
day's
what,
a new day.
No joke. If you have a roofing need and air conditioning need, I know people that will come and just check it out and
Absolutely.
give you the best deal possible.
Yeah.
If not I'm not going to negotiate the price on their behalf, but I know that they would be more than glad to make the time. Not because of business, but because that's the kind of people they
That's
are.
the kind of people they are. That's what's great about this community. Is there's plenty of that. But no, Crowley House of Hope is in a good position right now. We've facility-wise and infrastructure-wise, so no big projects on the horizon.
Well, I'd like to run through a couple of your peers' nonprofits because there's a bunch going on, and then at the end
Absolutely.
we'll let you finish up with what you would like for us to know. And we'll talk about it, a return visit, because we hardly got through all of it. We just kind of ran through a bunch of it. But anyway, as we know, Sunday. Oh, you forgot I'm sorry, I didn't tell you, Taylor. I'd like to put up the Vineyards and Vibes. You still have that one from Jennifer's show? Yeah, there it is. Yeah, okay, good. Thank you.
There's so many of them. Sorry.
Yes, I know. There really are. I should have warned you. But Vineyard and Vibes, Sunday afternoon over at Lost Oak. And it's $15 a ticket, which is strictly a fundraiser, right? Because it's, go over there and they'll have vendors and you buy some wine over there, some of that. If they buy enough bottles, Jennifer said, if the people buy enough bottles, then it'll help them with their rates that, and I'm sure Lost Oak is giving them the very bare minimum rates possible, probably just enough to keep the lights on. So, because they're really good about these kind of situations. They've done a lot of stuff like that. They did a Fitability TX. You ever heard of?
I have.
You know them, okay? Because they used to be right over
They
here,
did,
right? Yeah. Well, they're now we're in East Renfro, where I'm at. Anyway, buy tickets. Also, you're going to have music. Susie and the Sissies is one of my favorite local bands. I've known her Susie Morgan for. I won't tell how long because she'll be embarrassed. But anyway, but it's a really great thing. So if you haven't got your tickets yet, get them. It's on their webpage, the QR code if you use that. Also, then we have the Walk for Life. All right. My friend Megan, I had Megan in class as well. Do you ever have a need or opportunity to send them business, so to speak? I mean, because sometimes they may come in, you may have a client that has prenatal situations, care or whatever, diapers, whatnot, and that's what they do, so.
Yeah. And don't they have a facility or a location in Forest Hill? Or
Yes, they do, but the one that's the primary one is the one here in Burleson. It's right near Pathway Church, and they have sonograms, which they didn't have before, but now they're trying to even expand that. That's their big push.
That's great.
Because they're trying to expand that operation and provide minimal health care, prenatal care as best they can. In their mind, in their hearts and hopes, they would like to have a clinic like you do. Yeah. So let's see what happens with that.
Amazing.
Well, Walk for Life is on April 20th, so register there. If you can't be there, just donate. It's always good. Also, here's one that is pretty interesting. On April 28th, this is a cornhole tournament. Yeah, you like that.
Yeah, I do. That's great.
The cornhole for buttholes. What it is colorectal cancer research and colonoscopies. The Amanda Man Clark Project was on the show about 3 weeks ago, and Amanda Man Clark died of colorectal cancer in her mid-30s. And so her friend said, we need to do something about this. And so they're going to have a fundraiser at the Martin House Brewing in Fort Worth, and it's free for admission, but, they're going to have cornhole teams. And I like a butt sketch artist. And okay, well, anyway, but that's whatever, DJs, the whole thing. So check into that. And also, I just got something just during the show about the American Legion. I'm going to pull that one up as best I can. It was right in the middle of the show. And I thought, well, okay, let's see if I can at least give them a shout out. It's from American Legion. They're going to have a sale of sorts over at the Tractor Supply store. Let's see if I can find it. It's here we go. Try that one. Sanford Mason has sent it to me. It says the Burleson American Legion Post 235 will have a yard sale on Saturday, April 27th. The location is the South Tractor Supply Store. Various items have been donated and additional items are welcome. Times are 10 to 2, rain or shine. Come out and meet the members of the Legion. Our motto is Veterans Continuing to Serve. And it's from Sandy Mason, the commander of the Burleson American Legion Post 235. So we'll be throwing that on there. Whew, busy time, isn't it?
It is.
It is. But we have the community that can handle more than one event.
That's right.
So we have a few minutes left. Why don't you tell us in summary, I suppose, what we need to know about Crowley House of Hope?
Yeah, what you need to know is that this is an organization that cares a great deal about this community and beyond, right? And we are appreciative of this sort of collaborative community that we participate in. Like I said, I've done this work for a lot of years, and to be able to pick up the phone and call or email Jennifer and say, "Hey, what's going on over there? What are you seeing?" These are partnerships that truly make a difference. If you know somebody in need and want to send them to our way, please do so. Reach out through our website, through our Facebook page. We do all of that. Or just send them over. We're happy to talk to folks as we can. We'd love to see you on Saturday, April 13th between 10 and noon with the food donation if you can. Help us fill those shelves and meet more of these needs. And if you're interested in volunteering or connecting with us in some other way, of course, can give me a call there at Crowley House of Hope, or on our website. You'll see the little email button under my name. Can shoot me an email that way as well. But thank you so much for the exposure. We appreciate it.
We're going to do this again, absolutely, because I know you have summer programs and then back to school, and then seasonal stuff going on around Thanksgiving and Christmas. I did neglect one other nonprofit May 4th about the City on the Hill at the BHS. There you go. I don't want to neglect Lisa. Liz Hargrove is going to be on the show in about 2 weeks, and we'll talk a lot about it then. If you don't mind, I want to do a little pub for next week. On the 15th, I have Alexa Bedeker, who is running for city council, and then the next day I have Brandon Crisp, who's also running. They're running against each other, obviously. Alexa Bedeker on Monday, Brandon Crisp on Tuesday. They're running for place 3, and then I have Colin Gregory on Thursday, and with the Burleson Police, and he's going to be bringing a guest. He'll tell me when he gets to me. And this is another programming note. The 22nd, 23rd, I'll have Steve McAnally and Victoria Johnson, so it's going to be a little bit more political stuff. But I always bring this up with them. We need to pick up our game as far as our cities are concerned. We can't just rely on y'all and the churches, because as generous as we are, the need is still great. So anyway, but God bless you for what you're doing. God bless your whole crew for what you're doing. And I look forward to talking with you again very soon.
Awesome.
Share this with your friends, guys, and we'll see you all Monday.